Time for another round of overrated or underrated. I'm going to read out a list of things, and you are going to tell me if you think they are overrated or underrated. First up, we have naked rides, suggested by Gabrielle from Brussels, who says, I'm sure you're familiar with the World Naked Bike Ride, which is an international event where participants ride bikes naked to promote cycling. In my opinion, this movement is entirely counterproductive. It portrays cyclists as eccentric or crazy, whilst there's nothing more reasonable than using a bike for everyday transportation. What is truly unreasonable is to move a ton of steel and emit pollutants into the atmosphere just to buy bread or walk the dog. I refuse to believe that any motorist has been convinced to ditch their car and switched to cycling after seeing naked people with peace signs drawn on their bellies and flowers in their hair pass by. Do you share my opinion? I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. I do have an opinion on this. On the surface, it is absolutely ridiculous. And I can see why some people would look at it and go, this is just absolutely just obscene and just stupid and hippy-dippy. But I think the more that I've absorbed, what's the word for like campaigning and all of that kind of space, you need to have extremes to demonstrate that there are things out there. So essentially what this represents is a really, really extreme, over-the-top thing that gets attention and reminds people that cyclists are, that riding bikes is a thing. And then the other campaigning, which is less extreme, then fills the gap and actually changes the policy and gets more people riding bikes. You kind of have to have stuff like this so that it gets attention and it just reminds people that bikes are an important thing and should be doing more stuff in the world.
Yeah, I guess so. You know what? I have never ever thought about it until reading this, and I get what you're saying. It does portray cyclists as eccentric and crazy. It does feel very. I didn't realise it was a thing to promote cycling. I thought it was just people who like getting naked.
Well, yeah, but the same.
I think it's probably it's probably part of the objective as well.
Yeah.
I am going to turbo this evening naked.
Okay.
Because I imagine it's incredibly horrible.
Yeah. That's always what I think. It's probably the only thought I have when I see these things is just that looks painful.
Discomfort.
Yeah.
James, have you ever ridden a bike naked? Have you ever done like a protein photo shoot?
I have been part of a naked calendar, yeah. First year.
Have you really?
No, genuinely, yeah. You maybe I'm sure you could dredge that photo up from somewhere. But yeah, first year of I studied at Sheffield University, and first year there was like they do a naked calendar for each of the sport. Well, essentially, each of the sporting teams had to put in a photo, and the ambition was always like, if you had the best photo, you'd be on the front cover, and the cycling team was always on the front cover because it was like the shot was essentially the roadies just rode out to it and got their kit off, but then the mountain bike, there was like a mountain biker sending it off this massive jump, and he's miles in the air with his arse out. So.
Oh man.
I don't know. I think especially in the UK, we have a very prudish approach to nakedness.
Yeah.
And I think that might be the same in the US. But I mean, this guy is from Brussels and he doesn't like it either. But I've been to Finland and they are big fans of a naked sauna and they do not care. They have communal naked saunas with your neighbours and all
Naked
of that kind of stuff. I don't think that's a generalisation. That is what I was told by a genuine Finnish person. So I don't know, maybe it depends. I know that a lot of continental Europe think that we are incredibly prudish when it comes to nakedness. So maybe it's not as much of a... But also they love bikes as well. So they've got it right, we've got it wrong. Who knows?
I don't have any isissues with it.
Yeah, I don't have any
If people want to have a good time and ride their bike naked, go for it. Does it help cycling or hinder cycling? Probably neither, really.
Yeah, moot point.
I think, and therefore I'm going to say it is underrated.
Yeah, fine.
If more people want to ride their bike in any way that they want to ride it, good. Carbon spokes suggested by Hector in NYC, which I'm assuming is New York City.
Probably, Jimmy, yes.
I've heard good things and bad things. I've also seen them explode into giant balls of carbon needles, which makes me hesitant to upgrade. Loving the show. Keep up the great work. It is definitely not an upgrade if you get carbon spokes. You're obviously a bike mechanic, so you can comment on this. My angle is that we have historically made a video about carbon products that you shouldn't buy, and one of the things on the list was carbon spokes because they're just completely and utterly unnecessary.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the design of the wheel. Like I think for me, from a practicality point of view, even like the performance thing is like, yeah, I'm sure there is maybe some marginal performance there, but yeah, it's more what issues does it create. So if there's a carbon spoke where it's kind of molded into the rim and the hub, it just means that if you break a spoke, then you're
replacing a wheel.
Replacing a wheel.
Yeah.
Where there are some brands now that have like a carbon spoke. I think, in fact, Scope's new wheels have a carbon spoke that you can replace.
Yeah.
So I guess in some ways but ultimately this is like such a marginal thing that, yeah, they're definitely in the realm of being overrated.
They 100% are overrated, James. Keep sending your suggestions to wildonespodcast@cademedia.co.uk and we might read yours out in the next show.